Well, sorry to everyone recording on the second slide.
All right. Well, again, for just the recording, my name is Richard Sharp. I'm an assistant director with University Housing. We are talking through some of the options and the goals of the University Housing program, particularly for our incoming first years. So we've gone over the program as a whole, the size, some of the general takeaways, and key points. So here we have a overview really quickly just for the different types of housing that we offer. When you go to fill out the application itself, it'll ask that you preference different types of communities that you might like to live in the most. And so to give you a brief description of our four different types, I'll do that here really quickly. Our traditional style halls are generally what you probably think of as like community living or dorm style halls. Usually you're going to be on a floor, like sharing a bathroom with probably anywhere from like 30 to 50 other students. And so there's several different bathrooms, but that's kind of like the defining characteristic is that like shared community space. The next type that we have is junior suite, which is really usually going to be kind of like 2 to 4 different rooms sharing a bathroom. So it's usually going to be anywhere from like probably 4 to 8 people sharing a bathroom, and that's kind of its defining characteristic. Suite style is similar to junior suite, but you all also have like a shared living room, like a community space for just like your group of students. So the last one that we have here is apartment, which encompasses everything that you would think your typical apartment has. And it has like your own bathrooms for like however many people of you live in the apartment. It'll have the living room, it has a kitchen, all that good stuff. So those are kind of the defining characteristics for the four different ones. Above that, when you are indicating your preferences in the application, it'll also ask you to select whether you would like single occupancy or multiple occupancy. What that means basically is it's asking you, do you prefer to have your own bedroom or share with other students? So I will say that we have a lot more multiple occupancy beds spaces, so you're much more likely to get a multiple occupancy assignment. Please remember when you're going through and filling out the application, these are preferences. So we'll do our best to match you with your highest priority and the thing that you want most. But sometimes that's not always possible. Singles are really popular in particular. So that's just something that I want to let you know on the front end. So we have this QR code here also. If you are curious about specific communities or want to get a feel for what they look like, do encourage you to go to our website, and you can go to the different community pages. It'll tell you more about like the different styles, like I've said, or we also have some nice like 360 tours where you can kind of like click through the rooms or the common areas and in each of our facilities. Really gives you a good feel for where you'd be living. All right, so let's talk a little bit about learning communities. So this is an optional offering that we have for our students. So really what it is a learning community is kind of a group of students who have some sort of shared interests, some shared experience, or are in the same academic program. So we have a number of different learning communities, but really it's a good opportunity for you to live in the same space as other people who do have that shared experience, and it's a good way to meet people. There's usually staff support or faculty support. You might have some programming that occurs outside of the classroom, to really kind of get you all together, really centered around the theme of whatever the learning community is. Seth, let's go to the next slide. Here you'll see we have most of our communities listed here. Um, so if you're in the DAP program, that's you have the opportunity to live with other people in the DAP program. We have an engineering one, a business college of business learning community. So those are our academic focused ones. We also have some other communities that are focused on, general like health and wellness, seeing the world, social justice, things like that. And then our specific background communities are listed here as well. Generally, like we have availability for incoming first generation college students. So if you're the first person in your family to ever attend college, that's kind of what's meant by that. But if you scan this QR code, this takes you to our learning community page on our website. It gives you more information about each of these communities, how you apply, what they're all about. Learning communities have designated spaces in each of our communities. So if you're curious about where a particular learning community is located, like in which community, it's listed there on that web page as well. So for more information, yeah, just go to our website there, and I'll also show you how to get there here in a little bit as well. All right, so let's go over the housing application itself. So our housing application opened back in January and it closes June 4th at 5 p.m. That's our priority application deadline. So what I mean by that is if you submit your application before that time, we guarantee that we are going to get you a place to live for the fall 24 semester and the spring 25 semester. Any incoming students that are from more than 50 miles of Uptown campus, which is, I assume all of you as international students are required to live in university housing. So you all do need to fill out the application. The application will ask for some general information about you. It'll give you like the terms and conditions for that you'll agree to. It's kind of like your housing agreement, and then it'll ask for an application fee as well. Um, I do want you all to know that generally after you've confirmed, there may be a bit of a delay before you're able to access the housing application. It can take up to 72 hours. Usually it's faster, but if any of you have just confirmed recently, maybe within the last day or so, if you go into the housing application right now, you might not see anything there. So give it a day or two. But the important thing is to make sure that you're applying before June 4th, which is next Tuesday. Um, and then, sorry, Seth, if you don't mind going back. We have a QR code here that takes you to our application overview page. This tells you all of the timeline information, when different things happen, different deadlines, things like that. I'll give you a brief overview on the next slide, but everything's really conveniently laid out for you here at this link so that you can get all the information that's relevant to our program. All right, let's go to the next one. Sorry. All right, so here are some of our key dates for the rest of our timeline here for housing. So as I already told you, be sure that you apply before next Tuesday at 5. If you do decide to apply for a learning community and they accept your application, you will find out what your housing assignment, so where you're living, who you're living with, you'll find that out by the end of June. If you either are not selected for a learning community or you choose not to apply for a learning community, we will begin making assignments and like notifying you of where you're going to live and who you're going to live with the week of July 15th. So it begins that week. We hope to have everyone notified that week, but that's when we're starting to do that. So one thing I want to note here is to be eligible to live in housing, you have to do all the things that come with being a student. And so Seth already mentioned some of these, such as like you have to attend orientation. I know that you all have a virtual opportunity to attend that, But in order to receive your assignment or to keep it, you have to go to orientation. If you don't go to orientation by July 12th, you will either not receive an assignment, or if you're in a learning community, you might lose your assignment. So make sure that you go to your orientation. The other thing that you have to do is, you'll see here for August 1 is you have to sign up for classes. If you're not signed up for any classes, you can't live in university housing. This is for students only. So make sure that you've signed up for at least a class, and that's how that'll work. And then our primary move-in days are August 20th through 22nd. That is the Tuesday through Thursday of the week before classes start. If any of you need to request an early move-in, whenever we do make time slots available in mid to late July, you can request moving in before those dates as well. You can move in as early as August 17th, which is the Saturday. Well, it's 2 Saturdays before classes begin. So that's the earliest you can move in. So please do not schedule flights for before that. That's really the first day you should be showing up. So, all right, let's go to the next one here. All right, so for our incoming first years, you are required to have the all access meal plan. So you can think of this as kind of unlimited swipes into our dining court. Um, so each of you will have plenty of food. Like, you don't have to worry about like having enough to eat or anything like that. You can go to the dining centers as many times as you want. And each semester, you'll also have 15 guest swipes. So if someone comes to visit you, whether it's a friend or family member, you have 15 meals each semester that you can get them into the dining center with you as well. We have lots of different options, from vegan to gluten-free. If you have any food allergies or anything, they'll take care of you. We also have a dietitian in the food program, and her information is posted on the food website. So if you have any questions about the different options available to you, really encourage you to visit that and to reach out to that person as well. In subsequent years, if you even if you don't live in university housing, you can still get a meal plan, but those options become available to you after your first year, and that's what you see here in the bottom right, where it says campus dining pass in this red box. You can buy blocks of meal plans, and they come in these different increments, anywhere from 36 to 100. All right. And so we have three probably main dining centers. They're called Center Court, On the Green, and Market Point. But we also have other options for eating on campus available. So there are different cafes and other places around campus for you to get food. We have like a pizza vending machine. There's a couple different Starbucks you can go to, and we have a local coffee company that's also here located in our CCM building. And then we also have in our university center a food court that has lots of different restaurant options as well. So there's plenty of variety, and really encourage you to explore all of our different good options that we have on campus. All right. So here's our contact info. Before I pass everything off to Joel, I do want to, I'll go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you all kind of what the application looks like. I'll give you a quick tour around the housing website, where you can find different information that people often might have questions about. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So Seth, it looks like you might need to give me access to share. It says
No
I'm not
apologies.
able to.
Uh, you would think I've done this before, but with moving slides and all that, geez. All right, you should be good.
Okay, we're good. All right, so let's see if we can minimize that. I want to get this out of the way. Okay, there it goes. All right, so here is our housing website, and this is The best way that I can tell you how to find it is usually I just will Google UC housing and it should be the first thing that shows up. So this is how you get to our website. Um, but this is where it's located. Some of the links that I've already shared with you are just kind of up here at the top of the page. So you'll see our where to live page that I shared with you. It kind of tells you all the different information about the different choices that you have. So as first year, these are going to be the communities that you're going to be eligible to live in, but it also does have information about like in your years after your first year where you can live. We have all these sub pages as well, where if you're curious about the different types that we have, here's which of our communities are which type. We also have links to their specific pages. So I talked to you about some of the 360 tours that we have if you want to know like kind of how the space actually feels when you're in it. We have these, so like here's like our lobby tour. You can come in here, you can kind of click through the building. So like if you were assigned to Calhoun or Siddall Hall, this would basically be a place where you could just hang out and spend time or study. We also have walkthroughs of the rooms themselves. So this is a 4-person room, so you can kind of see like some of the like this one overlooks the football field, which is really cool. But that's kind of like what the space looks like. We also have a tour for like the other side of the building that like can see the city, which is also really cool. So those are the 360 tours that I told you about. If you are curious about learning communities, under the where to live drop down, that's where you'll find the learning community information. So I told you that it has like more information for you. You can see all of that, but then it also describes each of the learning communities. So for instance, like our DAP program, if you were curious about joining that one, it tells you all about that, how to apply, and also where it's located. So like DAP, for instance, will get assigned to Daniels Hall. So that's something to keep in mind as well. It'll also give you a heads up of like some of the questions that it'll ask in the application. So that's where you can find that. For apply information, you just can click here on our apply tab and it'll have some different options or shortcuts for you. So you're all going to want the first year button. It'll take you right down here. It'll give you like an overview of the timeline, how to get to the application, what to do, things like that. Also here under apply, you'll notice that we have rates information. We also have, I'll show you this, how to walk through videos. So when these are really helpful for if you have questions about actually doing or filling out the application, this takes you all the way through it. So I'll walk you through it myself, but say after this presentation's over, if you do have questions, these videos will go through every page, and here are some shortcuts for like where you can skip to in the video to like see certain things. And so it's 2 parts. These are all the optional steps. And then down here, we also have walkthroughs for if you have a specific roommate request or want to live with someone in particular, it'll tell you how to do those processes as well. So lots of good information here. It also does have a walkthrough for the learning community application. For room assignments, if you're curious about any of that, it's also listed here. So lots of good information on our housing website. The other probably big one is our move-in page. So here you can find out all of the information about what the move-in process looks like. Like I said, early arrivals begin August 17th, and you'll have to request that. So make sure when we do make those requests available that you're filling those out and getting those approved. All right, and then we have some other options here as well, but if you do have any questions, this is how you can get in touch with us. We have our contact information right here. So feel free to either call us, or if it's easier, you can email us. So that's how you can get in touch with us after this presentation. All right, so that is a little bit about the website. I'll do a quick walkthrough of the application as well. So I showed you where you can find that link. It's the same link that's in your Bearcat portal. So when Seth was showing you the Bearcat portal and it said housing application, it's going to take you to the site that I'm about to take you. So, but if you are on the housing web pages already, like this, the housing application is linked in a lot of different places. So that there's other ways that you can get here as well. All right, so this is going to be your landing page. So you're going to want to click here on the login page. If you've already signed into the Bearcat portal, you might skip this page, but it might ask you to go ahead and sign in. So when you get here, you'll want to click on apply for housing, and then you should see academic year 24-25 as your option. So you'll go ahead and click apply. And then here's going to be kind of the welcome screen. It's going to give you kind of an overview of the process, a lot of the details, like when it closes, when you'll find out assignment information, anything that's renewal related. That's not for you. That's for returning students. So you can kind of just ignore this for this year. If you want to live in housing again in the future after your first year, this is that process. All right, so we'll go ahead and start the application. A lot of the information in your housing application is going to pull from Catalyst automatically. So that's kind of why it takes sometimes a day or two to for the housing application to be visible. It's because Catalyst is sending that information over to the application itself. So you'll see it fills in all this information for me. And then you just basically verify that it's correct and then save and continue. I don't have emergency contact information. This should probably say my wife's information or something, but you'll want to fill this out. Let us know, like, if something happens, who we should contact in case of an emergency. So I'm going to skip this, but you'll want to fill this out. If you have any requests for accommodations, such as, if you have like hearing needs or visibility or anything else, here is where you would say yes or no. And then it'll ask for you to basically give us like a quick, like just really brief, like general area of what kind of accommodation you will be requesting. Um, if you do have an accommodations request, you will need to work with our accessibility resources office to submit that request formally. When we're doing assignments, will only consider approved accommodations from that office. So you'll see here, we link you to that website. Be sure if you're saying you have an accommodation that you're also going to that website and filling out their process. So I'm going to say no, just for time's sake, and then we'll go to the next page. All right, so here's the immunizations that are required to live in. So make sure that you've got all of these. We will send text messages sometimes for like reminders or important updates, whether it's, hey, this deadline's coming up and you haven't done something that you need to do, or our food department also can send text messages. So if like a dining center is closing early or something like that, they can also let you know. I highly recommend you say yes here so that you can get these important updates. And then you would hit save and continue. And then here's the housing agreement. So this is all of the terms that you have to agree to in order to live in university housing. So read over this. I'm going to scroll past it for now, but I do think it's good for you all to look at this and make sure you know what you're agreeing to. And then down here at the bottom, you have to enter your M number. That's kind of your signature for our purposes here. All right, and then here's meal plan information. I already talked about this, but like I told you earlier, you'll get the all access meal plan, which is our unlimited option. And then here, if you are interested in learning communities, this is where you will begin to review that information. It skipped the page for me, but before you get to this page is where you would do your payment. So if you only do two things, you need to do you need to agree to the terms and conditions and you need to pay the application fee. If you only do those two things, you've done everything you need to do. Everything else that we're going to talk to here for the rest of this application is all optional. So you don't have to apply to a learning community if you don't want to. This is an optional step. This will link you to the website that I already showed you where it lists all the learning communities. But if you do want to apply, you just select the one you want to apply to down here in the drop down, and then the next page will basically take you to like that learning community's application. So you saw on the website, some of them have like essay questions that they want you to answer and things like that. This is where you would basically say like, I want to join this learning community, and then it'll ask you to do those. So I'm not going to select that now. We're going to skip that. But again, there's walkthroughs for the learning community application process on that how-to videos page on our website that I showed you. If you are interested in gender inclusive housing, so living with someone of another gender, like if you're interested in that, here's where you can submit that request. You can either say, yes, I need it, or no, I'm not interested, but you will select one of those, and then you'll hit save and continue. If you do say yes there will be another form for you to fill out so that our assignments team can get you in the best location for what your request is. And then here for next steps, it'll take you through all of our roommate processes. Again, if you have someone that's specific that you want to live with, here's how you do that. I'm going to skip this part. There, we have walkthrough videos on our website that I showed you, so make sure that you're following the instructions laid out on those. Again, if you don't have someone that you want to live with specifically, you can just not do this, and we'll assign you with someone that, based on the information that you say here, or based on your housing assignment preferences, that best aligns with what you want. All right. So let's skip the roommate stuff. And then here for room preferences, this is the one thing that I do think is important for you all to do. Again, it's optional, but I highly recommend doing this. This is where you tell us what type of building that you want to live in. So if you really want to live in Calhoun, the building that I showed you earlier in the 360 walkthroughs, and you really want to have a roommate, and that's like what you want most, like you would select that first. So you should do at least 6. So you'll want to have at least 6 lines. Maybe your second preference is that's not even Calhoun. This is Calhoun is traditional. So if your second preference is you want to live in Calhoun, but maybe by yourself, you could do that. But really just indicate like kind of the order of what you want the most. Again, these are preferences. We're not guaranteeing that you're going to get like your top 1 or 2 or anything really, but we're going to do our best to get you your highest priority. So that's kind of how it works. So go ahead and select 6. I'm just going to click kind of random ones here, and then we'll save and continue to go to the next page. And then this is kind of just the overview. This tells you everything that you've selected, tells you, you've done everything that's available right now. Later this summer, when move-in time slots and move-in information becomes available, you can log back into the housing application, and it'll show up at the end of your application for how to sign up for those, or for how to tell us when you're going to be arriving. But for now, this is everything that you can do in the application. All right, so that is everything that I planned on sharing. If any of you have any questions, I see that I don't know if those questions in the Q&A are for me or not, but if you do have housing related questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and I will answer them as I can while Joel and Seth are finishing their presentations. But thank you all for your time, and looking forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, Richard. Yes, I believe 1 or 2 questions were in the chat, but I also have a list of student questions just previously that I'd love to ask you as well. So at the end,
We can do that now, or we can do it at the end, either way.
I'll save them for the end.
Okay, sounds good.
Sure. And now I will pass it over to International Services and the wonderful International Services Advisor, Joel, to tell you a little bit about immigration and next steps related to that.
Awesome, thank you. So all of your immigration questions before and during your time at UC will come to our office. So any questions about immigration, rely on our office to answer those. All right, so some of you may have seen this, some of you may not have. In order to gain a visa, you'll need to be issued an I-20. So in your confirmation of admission email, you'll receive instructions on how to log into the iBearcats Global portal. This is the portal you will use to submit any immigration related request. So it's very important that you get access to this. Before you arrive, you're going to use this new student/scholar login that the big blue arrow is pointing towards. You'll use this before you arrive to UC. After you arrive, you'll be able to use the big login button in the middle. But when you click on that, you'll be able to set up your portal account. You'll need your M number, your date of birth, and the limited access PIN that is sent to you in that confirmation email. Once you do that, you'll be able to see your home page. So in order to get the I-20, the big red circle, you need to look at your new international student checklist. So this is what you will do. You'll click on that and it will take you to the immigration documents e-form. So you'll see there are two sections. There's the before arriving to UC and after. So in order to arrive to UC, you'll need to get an I-20 to get a visa. So you'll click on the immigration documents. You'll need to submit your passport as well as financial documents in order to be issued an I-20 from our office that you will use to set up your visa appointment to get a visa. All right. So in the immigration documents, you'll see it'll have a lot of links. It'll have solid information that you can rely on. So if you need to see the costs, you can click on that and it'll take you to a link. Or if you need to, if you have a sponsor who's helping provide financial support for your education, you'd select the affidavit of support and have them fill that out so that we can have documentation that you're receiving financial support from someone else. If you are living with a family member or a family friend in Cincinnati when you arrive, you'll also have the room and board affidavit. You'll need to fill out that, and that will act as financial support. So this is very important to read through carefully when you get access to iBearcats Global in order to submit your e-form request so that we can issue you an I-20 in a timely manner. So once you have been approved for your immigration documents e-form, you'll get this very long email. It will give you all of the information you need to set up a visa appointment. It has information about the airport transportation request. So we have a shuttle that you can use a code for a one-time trip from the airport to UC's campus. So especially coming in from other countries and maybe not knowing people to get a ride to UC, this will be very, very useful to transport yourself from the airport, which is actually in Kentucky, all the way up to Cincinnati to our campus. So make sure, especially with regards to your immigration, you'll need to read our emails very carefully and make sure you follow any instructions that are in those emails. So some of this information, such as the health screening, is also wrapped up with housing as well. But these emails will contain a lot of information for you to start your next steps towards coming to UC. All right, so after you arrive, you'll need to do the check-in e-form. So this is that after arriving section of the new international student checklist. Basically, you are required to check in so that we know you're here, so that we can activate your immigration status. So you'll need to log into iBearCats Global, complete this check-in e-form. And you cannot do this until you are in the United States. So after you complete the after arriving section, all of the new international student checklist, you'll also need to schedule your mandatory health screening appointment. So there's the University Health Services number right there. You'll need to, after you arrive, call this number to schedule your appointment. Our office also provides free SIM cards for your phone. So if you stop by our office at 1 Edwards Center, then you can get a free SIM card so you can start using your phone when you arrive. And as I mentioned previously, the airport executive transportation shuttle is available, and in that email you'll receive the password to register for a ride. All right, so if there are any other questions about any of the immigration processes leading up to arrival or after arrival, you can always email us at this email, and I'll also be available to take questions at the end of this presentation.
Great, thank you, Joel. I'm just going to wrap up with a few more things for everyone, and then we'll get into the question answer period. So these are some important deadlines. It looked like housing had a few more actually besides this, but these are really the main, the most important ones that you should try and keep in mind. Confirmation fee deadline, that is on June 1st. That is located through your portal. Once you confirm you have access to everything else, confirmation fee, it's not money that's lost. It essentially is a down payment on your first semester tuition. So it just goes to essentially towards that first semester. Deadline's June 1st. Following that, the housing application deadline's shortly afterwards, June 4th, 5 p.m. You do need to pay your tuition 5 days before classes start. So that's August 21st. That's when you'll receive that notification. And then also the arrival deadline is before classes start. You have to be in the country on campus the day before classes start, Sunday, August 25th. Just one quick detail about arrival in general. Once you get your F1 visa, that essentially permits you to enter the United States 30 days before classes start. So in theory, you can come as early as like the end of July or very early August. However, housing won't be available for you. There are some students who choose to come every year it happens, but there are some students who choose to come like 3 weeks in advance and just kind of hang out, either stay in a hotel or explore the country a little bit, something like that. If you have more questions about deadlines, please let me know, but these are really the main ones. I'm missing the orientation deadline, which is necessary for maintaining your housing. So refer back to those to maintain your housing status. And finally, here is a little bit of contact information. Briefly, I think most of these are pretty clear as to what their responsibilities are, but I would like to differentiate between international admissions and international services. Up until this point, you've mostly been working with me or my colleagues in international admissions. We work with students from when they're first prospects. So when you first have an interest or an idea, maybe I want to study in the United States, what is Cincinnati, what programs do you have, all the way until you arrive at the university. And then once you arrive at the university, you'll be working with international services throughout your entire time as a student here at UC. Obviously, international services works a lot with immigration, so making sure you maintain your legal status in the United States, whether you are taking classes or you're doing co-ops or internships or working anything else, they are helping you through that process, the legal side, which is why they get involved a little bit early before you show up.
I'll add one other thing to that
Sure.
real quick. We are international services only deals with immigration. So any questions about scholarships or admissions or housing, those will go to either scholarships will go to admissions, housing will go to housing, but immigration questions is our office.
And you guys also do programming too, right?
We do also do some programming, yes.
Yeah, that's fun. All right. So that is all that we have for you today. Thank you everyone for attending. We are going to get into some questions and answers. I will leave this contact information up on the screen for a little bit. But I will start.
Seth, we have a couple questions in the chat that I'd like to just clarify. So
Sure.
one thing is about tuition guarantee cohort. So I just want to explain that concept to the folks on the call right now. So UC is in the state of Ohio. So Ohio has a law that basically says whenever you start school at a university, basically the rate that you pay that first year is going to be the same rate until you finish your undergrad program. So that started a few years ago. So all of you as incoming first year students, your tuition guarantee cohort will be 24-25 because that's your first academic year. So the rates that you pay this year for tuition or for housing, those will be the same rates for each year that you're here. So when you go on to, like, for example, the housing website, we have our rates page. You'll see that we have lots of different sub pages for different tuition guarantee cohorts. That's because the rates can change year to year, but for you, they will stay the same. But for someone maybe who starts next year, like the year after you, they might pay a different rate than you. So that's kind of how that works. So none of you, like where it says like students who are part of the 1920 or 2021 tuition guarantee cohort, anything that says that, like, you can ignore because your tuition guarantee cohort is 24-25.
Thank you so much, Richard. I'm going to answer a few of these questions live as well. I know that you grabbed a couple live. One question, how can a first-year student change major upon arrival? So in your admissions portal, you should be able to see there's a big button that says request to change major. I'm going to very briefly stop sharing my screen and then share it again from a student perspective once I find someone that can change majors, just to give you an idea. So just 1 second and I'll show you what it looks like. I don't want to give away any student confidential information, but basically, if you go to the screen that is that says respond to your offer of admissions, congratulations on your admissions, respond now, become a Bearcat, et cetera, where you initially confirmed your admissions. If you go to that screen, there is an option there that says major change request. And then once you click on that, it will take you to a page. I can share my screen for this part, just trying to avoid sharing confidential information. It'll take you to a screen and it will say, what do you want to do? And you'll say, I'm here to change my major. And then you'll be able to select what major you're interested in. Some of them will ask you to say why you're requesting a change in major, and that college will need to review you for that particular major. Obviously, we have some very competitive processes, so you may or may not get accepted for the major change, but you'll type in that information here and then submit it. All right, so that was that question. I can't access my Bearcat portal as I tried to change my password. It says error. Let me answer live. I'm going to recommend you to reach out to UCIT. Passwords do lock out after about 6 attempts. So if you have been able to log in previously and you never changed your password, it is quite likely or possible that you did get locked out. But I will go ahead and share the default password in the chat again. Just in response to that question. I'm gonna put that in the chat for everyone. This is for Ashish. There we are. Who asked that? All right. Is it compulsory to take the math placement test if I've already taken the SAT? Unfortunately, unless you love math or taking math tests, unfortunately, yes. That is a requirement. It's basically just to confirm that your current math placement level is accurate. There are some students who are able to test into a higher level of math, and that saves you some time and money. So it's worth it. You won't necessarily be placed into a lower level. It's more just to confirm that your coursework is appropriate for where you are. All right. Answered. Mr. Seth, can I attend the orientation online? Yes, we do have virtual Bearcats Bound orientation. Sorry, virtual Bearcats Bound orientation. So that is something that you can attend online. You can access that through the Bearcat portal. There are several dates that you can sign up for. There's actually one going on today, but there are several others throughout the next month or two. A question regarding immunization. If you want to give a little bit more detail about that question, I'm sure we'd be happy to answer that. There's no option to change major to nursing. Correct. So some of the most competitive programs only accept a very small number of students, and they don't allow additional students to join that program. Nursing is one of those. There are a few others, aerospace engineering, some of the CCM programs. So programs where you have to audition or go through interviews, they do not accept major changes to those because it's just a very long process to be able to enter those. So I do apologize for not for misspeaking before. It is not possible to major change to nursing. And I think you got most of the other ones in the chat.
You had mentioned that you had a couple maybe housing questions before that
I
you
do.
brought
That's
into
right,
here.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So these are just questions I've come across in general from international students that I'm sure would be of use.
Yeah.
Is it possible to appeal your housing assignment? And if you feel like you were placed into something like an apartment and you're trying to save money, so on the basis of finances, is it possible to appeal to a lower designation like junior suite or traditional?
Sure. I don't know that I would call it like an appeal, so to speak, but if you are assigned somewhere, you can contact us to make a request. Often when we first do assignments, there's not a lot of room to swap people around, because usually at the beginning of a cycle, a lot of our beds are occupied by other people. But if we are not able to move you around before you get here and reassign you to a less expensive version that we have, every semester we have a room swap process where you're able to just go in and say like, hey, I'd like to live in another location because it'd be cheaper, and we'll do our best to reassign you to something that meets your requests, and that's usually about 3 to 4 weeks into each semester, and that's available in the fall and the spring semesters. So everything's subject to availability. So if you want something in particular and we just don't have an opening, like unfortunately we're not going to be able to reassign you to like what you're requesting. But if it's available, yeah, we're happy to move you. So the reason why I give that caveat is oftentimes people will request singles. Like I said, those are a hot commodity. Like everybody wants those. If you request a single, like maybe if you're lucky, you might get moved to a single, but probably not. So that's kind of the disclaimer there.
Great, thank you so much. And then one other question similar to that is if a student is interested in joining an LLC and they're also interested in a particular housing style, but they're not aligned, does the LLC have priority if they select both?
Yes, that's a great question. So I would say if you are interested in a particular LLC, like a big benefit of the LLCs is like living with the people who are taking similar classes or have like similar backgrounds to you. I highly recommend living with the LLC. If you don't, you're just missing out on a big benefit of that program. Kind of related, if you have a specific person that you want to live with, and you join an LLC, that person is going to need to be in that same LLC. Otherwise, we are not going to assign you with that person. So that's something to consider as well. But usually the LLC membership is kind of the first thing that we consider because we work with each program individually, and like they'll tell us like who's living with who and where to assign you and everything like that. So that's like the number one thing. So if you have someone you want to live with, and you want to do an LLC, you should probably so highly recommend that they also apply to that same LLC.
Great. Thank you so much for that question. I did have one more for you as well, Joel, if you don't mind. And that might be, why might my I-20 be rejected? What are some of the most common reasons for that, and how can I avoid those?
Great question. Often it comes down to the financial aspect of it. So there are the listed tuition and fees, and there are the fees required to be issued an I-20. As an undergraduate student, you need to prove a certain amount in finances in order to be issued an I-20. That's a government requirement. And so I would say most often the top 3 reasons would be not presenting sufficient finances, a missing document. So if you say, yes, I've received a scholarship, but you don't show us that scholarship, we're going to let you know that we need to see the scholarship. Many students receive scholarships, but our office is not notified when they do. So you'll need to include that scholarship offer letter in order for us to add that to your I-20 as part of your funding. The other most common reason would be the affidavit of support that I mentioned. So if you're receiving financial support from a family member or from a friend, then you'll need to include a signed affidavit of support. If that's not completely filled out, then we'll need to follow up with you to get that document completely completed.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to go through a few more questions. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to share the screen. There's a request to show the deadline dates again. And then also, I don't know, Joel, if you're interested in speaking about immunization, or if either of you are interested on speaking on that topic. I don't.
We just get sent the list, so I don't have much to say other than that's what they are.
Same.
Well, very quickly, I'll go ahead and show these important deadlines. It was requested to share these again. Immunization is vaccinations or different medical inoculation that you receive to not pass on contagious diseases. So it's a guarantee that you won't be affected by these diseases, and that if for whatever reason you get them, you won't have a severe effect. So that's what it is. How it's done is by going to a particular hospital in your home country, scheduling appointments to get these vaccines. And when you do that, the hospital should provide paperwork or documentation saying that you have received these procedures. Let me find the exact list, wherever it was. I think it was in the housing section, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know why I associated it with you, housing.
It was.
I thought you said it.
We had the list when I was going through the application, so there was a list
Oh,
there.
it was on the actual application website.
Yeah.
Okay. Might that be somewhere else in here? No, it just says do it. I'm not sure what the exact list. Yeah, you should go to the University Health Services website to see exactly what those are. But there is a list of required immunizations. They're fairly standard internationally. If you travel to other countries, a lot of times you'll be required to show the same sort of immunizations. These questions are starting to go all over the place, so I appreciate both of you and your time hanging out here today, but I'm going to answer them so long as they're asking. Regarding classes, is there usually any way to choose your professors? Yes, there is. So you'll probably be scheduling your classes during your VAPS session or your virtual advising session. And with that, you'll meet your academic advisor and go through what courses are available and then how to schedule those classes. Since I'm here and showing my screen very quickly, I'm just going to show you what it actually looks like from a student perspective, since I am a student, just so you have a brief idea kind of what that looks like. So this website is called Catalyst. It is a portal where you can schedule classes. If you go into this side here where it says classes and schedule, you can search for courses, and here you can select what sort of term exists. So I'm going to look for fall. I'm going to look for example, biology classes. And you have to select at least 2 different sections here. So I'm going to say greater than or equal to 1. So this will just show me all the biology classes in the fall, basically. Yes, lots of classes exist, more than 200. We have a lot of biology classes. Maybe I should have picked something more special. This might lag out, actually. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, oh, it just froze my computer. All right. Here we go. Oh, they did load and they are gone. Dang it. Sorry. 1 second, very quickly, and then I'll go back to questions. This is worth knowing to be a UC student in general, just so you know that it exists and how to find it. So I'm going to say Arabic languages and culture. There we go. There's probably not as many of these classes. So say I'm interested in Arabic languages and culture. You can search, and here it shows up 15 different class sections. Each of these rows is one particular class that you can sign up for. So here it's showing the number of credits that the class is. It's a 5-credit course. What sort of breadth of knowledge designations it has. So if you look at your curriculum that you need to do to graduate, a lot of times there'll be something that says like you have to take a humanities course or something like that. So that's what that designation is. And then it has dates and times, the different professors. And then if you select, so for example, here's this course, you can take it with multiple professors at different times. There's a variety, some are in person, some are online. It gives you the building, the time, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you actually click on the class also, and you scroll down, it will give you a course description to read what is actually in the class, what's being taught in the class. It will show you how many people have already signed up, how much space is available out, and here are the designations. So diversity and culture, social responsibility, etc. Just wanted to show that briefly for everyone, so you have an idea it exists. All right, back to questions. Done. For scholarships, if I got 2 scholarships from different areas of the university, do I need to personally communicate that to each of them, or will they have access to that information among themselves? I don't know if you want to answer that question, Joel, if you want me to. I'm happy to answer it.
If
Sorry,
you're
I read it really
to
fast.
like funding for the I-20, you'll need to show us both scholarships. And you'll submit both of those back to the respective offices and they'll be applied to your account.
Yeah, so basically international services doesn't receive any information for scholarships, since you might get a scholarship from, I don't know, some outside organization that's not UC, or maybe something that's new. They don't necessarily have that info, so you have to send it directly. All right, another question. Is it true I won't be able to change my major to nursing after I arrive to the university? Gosh, that's a tough one. I think that there is a interdisciplinary nursing. Let me find it. Yes, this recording will be made available to you. Easy question. Nursing technology, pre-health professions. Okay, so we do have a pre-health professions major, which is interested in nursing through Blue Ash. So it is possible. Our nursing program only accepts first-year students. I know historically there have been students that have gone through Blue Ash. Blue Ash is our regional campus that have ended up in the nursing program afterwards. We do also have a pre-nursing program, but I would say it's very, very difficult to get into that program. If you are interested in nursing, it might be better to wait and then apply again the following year. It is a very competitive program. I think we only accept like 100 students or 120, something like that, with thousands of applications. So it is quite difficult to enter. But I do know through our regional campus, there have been a few students who go through the pre-nursing. Let me get the exact name of that. Yeah, the pre-nursing program through a regional campus that then transition into nursing. You would need to be referred into that program though. It's like nursing prep. All right. So for that question again, I would say there is a pathway, but it's extremely difficult. You need to talk to your academic advisor once you arrive, or before you arrive. You'll meet with your academic advisor in the virtual advising session. That's done. That's done. Next question. When do I get access to the Catalyst portal? Should I be concerned that I haven't heard about that until now? No. So Catalyst is where I went to look for classes. So you'll probably not see the Catalyst portal, this portal, until you're registering for classes for the first time. And then your academic advisor will probably go through this portal or show it to you at this time. Also, normally students schedule classes alone with their academic advisor, but you can schedule classes on your own and then do that on your own, and it's through this website. So it's good to know that it exists and that you can do that if you need to, but really you should wait to meet with your academic advisor before doing so, because there might be things they know that you don't, as far as what you need to complete your degree, right, or advice they have about specific classes, anything like that. But I wouldn't be concerned. If you want to look at this website, you can do so. Just Catalyst. You can look for it, just Catalyst UC, and then here it gives you access, and you go into the website, and it's the same login that you'll be using for everything else. So yeah, that's that website. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think we did it. Ooh, go team. All right, and you said you have to get going anyways, Richard. So thank you, everyone. I will post this video online on our YouTube channel and then share the link with you all. If you just look up, I think it's, I don't remember if it's International Services or International Admissions, but if you go to YouTube, type in University of Cincinnati International, you'll find this video posted in about, I don't know, an hour or two once the recording goes through. So thank you everyone for your time, for attending. If you do have more questions, please feel free to email us or let us know. And Joel and Richard, really appreciate your time and help.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day, y'all.
Have a great day. See you.